like that. Cori, I want you to jump in because the next couple of questions I have are tangentially related, and I know you and I are very easy to go off the rails on tangents and stuff like
Mine
that.
is
So
not related to this. My question is not related to this at all. So
no,
is it okay if I go off on a tangent?
yes, exactly. My
Okay,
my my
cool.
next couple of questions are kind of related, but they're not related to what we were talking about at all.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to actually just dive into talking a little bit about the album. You said in one of your interviews that you really found your footing as a band, and that this album you weren't really um, as like you were more confident in this album, and that you had found who you are as a band. But I still hear a lot of experimentation and growth in you guys as musicians. So do you think finding that foundation really let you kind of cut loose and experiment more because you were a lot more comfortable?
Um, I think maybe what you've read is something I've said in an interview, and I
Mhm.
feel like that is true. That on the other two albums we've done before, we maybe we're still kind of finding our footing, as you say, you know. But now
Mhm.
we've constructed our frame within we work, you know,
Mhm.
and that frame is pretty broad, it's pretty big. So there is lots of space for experimentation still. But I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure if I came into the band with a song or something like that, that were completely, you know, it wouldn't fit what we've done before and where we're going right now, then I'm sure
Mhm.
the other guys would tell me. Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, you can definitely hear the nuance and the experimentation that's still going on, but still very much sounding like Slate.
Good.
That's great. That's
Mhm.
great.
Yes.
Can I piggyback off that, Cori?
Go for it.
So yeah, with what Cori mentioned, you know, with the experimentation of the sound, developing everything through the years. I mean, you
Mhm.
can kind of hear that through your previous releases, right? Where you can kind of hear the steps that you've taken to get to where the sound is today, especially on this album, Goddess. I'm curious, like when you look back at all the years and how have you been doing? Is that something that was a like a conscious decision, or like how did that come about? Because your earlier stuff definitely more traditional black metal in that sound. Now you're adding a lot more heavy metal traditional elements in that. I'm just curious on your frame of reference to that.
I would say that our frame of reference is like developing all the time, like as individuals, but also as a collective. We get to know more and more different kinds of music. The more we exist in music, and like not being drawn and inspired by all sorts of music is impossible for us. So just like to say it as boring as possible, we just like getting older and more wise and experienced. I would say
Mature.
more mature, more informed. I would say maybe also.
Yeah.
Um, so it's not like that much a conscious choice, but I think we will keep on like pushing the boundaries of what we're able to do, because in the moment we just like totally follow a formula and create the same old song again and again. It will get stuck and boring for all of us, and I would also assume for our listeners.
Yeah, Oscar, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think Anna said it brilliantly there.
Off that as well, I'm curious as far as like when y'all started playing music, what were your like biggest influences on that versus maybe what are you're listening to now that have kind of helped develop the sound that Anders you mentioned was kind of been going over the past little while, subconsciously or not?
Yeah, well, for me, picking up the guitar, the big one for me was Black Sabbath.
Hmm.
And I still think it's the best band that has ever existed. You know, laid the foundation for everything, for this kind of music that we are here connected to and all that. So yeah, it was Sabbath and bands at that time, you know, Zeppelin, Purple. And then at some point, when that wasn't heavy enough for me, you know, I I kind of went chronologically, so then it became Judas Priest, Maiden, and then all the Thrash and so on and so forth. But I still think actually for me at the moment, it's still those original ones that I were drawn to that gives me the most inspiration, because their music was so deep and well made that there's so much to dig into, and there's so much to discover in their music. So there's still a lot to be inspired from there. So I think for me personally at the moment, it's not so much music I'm listening to that's inspiring me. It's probably more stuff happening in my life, or myself trying to explore my own music, kind of, like trying to analyze what I did before, where can I take it from here, and stuff like that. So that would be my answer.
I think it's a great one. Yeah, and I think that shows, just the journey that you said. You guys joked you're getting older. Of course, you guys aren't old right now, but just like with any journey, right? You start off with the foundations that you have, and then once you have, almost a decade worth of music to go back on that you've done now, I get that. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling type of thing. Anders, what about you?
Yeah, I also listened to these legendary rock and roll bands when I was a little child. When I first picked up the guitar, I was like very very basically influenced a lot. I don't know, influenced, but very fun to listen to Jimi Hendrix and that kind of like guitar music, and also Black Sabbath pretty fast caught my interests very strongly. And yeah, then I pretty fast got into all these shredders, like Yngwie Malmsteen. The first vinyl I brought myself was Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force.
Oh yeah.
Fucking respect to Yngwie Malmsteen.
I love him too.
If you're watching Yngwie, fucking cheers, mate. Respect.
He's so underrated. There's so many people that don't understand what he's about. They just think that he's a technician and all that, but first of all, he has one of the best vibratos of all time.
Yeah,
and his way he can write amazing riffs, amazing chord structures, his sense of melody and harmonies. It's amazing.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
but at the moment, I think I've had this very long period where the only two types of music I was listening to was Japanese pop music, like the Japanese idol groups, which I think for me has inspired a lot of my writing in Slaegt, especially considering. And now it's getting too nerdy, but that has inspired me quite a lot, and also old government critic Russian classical music, very violent and aggressive avant-garde classical music have really inspired me lately. And also I've been on this journey trying to find the most violent heavy metal band I could find, and at the moment I'm at the Sarcophago, which is really something I'm so much into at the moment. Yeah,
great.
Violent as far as like the abrasiveness of the music and stuff like that.
Just like as fast and hard as possible, and as much in metal level.
Abrasive.
Yeah,
right?
abrasive. Yeah.
I know I saw Cori smiling. Both of us love hearing that, because one of the repeat questions that we have sometimes is just like, what is may have influenced the album that listeners may not know, right? Because any musician doesn't just stay in their own wheelhouse, right? Like some of them might, but most of them listen to a lot of different stuff outside of whatever it is that they're doing. And hearing that you're listening to Japanese pop and Russian orchestra and shit like that, I think makes us it gives us a little smile on our face, because we love that shit.
Yeah, I also totally appreciate when musicians are looking for inspirations other places than their comfort zone. And I think pretty much like everyone we know that play music does that. Like it's a pretty natural thing to do.
For me, naturally, I for a long time had this idea that, especially if you're a creative artistic person, you should try and imagine while you're doing what you do, but you're actually not doing what you're doing, if that makes any sense. My dad is an actor. I've had many discussions with him about this, and he once told me that the Pablo Picasso, the painter, when he was painting, he wasn't thinking that he was painting. He was thinking he was writing a poem or going to war or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's might be a good trick.
Cori, please jump in.
Oh, yeah. Since we're on inspirations, this actually is a good segue into my question. For once, I'm not going off on a random tangent.
We did it.
That's rare. That's rare. So I would love to talk about the inspirations behind the artwork a little bit, because it's an atypical color palette. You guys have, music that sounds darker, but everything it's so bright and like very engaging, and it catches your eye right away. And yeah, awesome. Thank you for showing the folks who may not know what it looks like, but it is freaking awesome. And I want to know what inspired you to come up with this kind of artwork, and or did you just let the artist kind of go ham on it?
Mostly option 2 there. The artist David Glomba, he's a guy from Slovakia here in Europe. And when we contacted him and asked him if we wanted to commission him for working for us, we basically just sent him like rehearsal room demos of the songs, the lyrics, and maybe I think I sent him a little painting or something, which I thought was pretty inspiring. And then he came with some follow-up questions to some of the lyrics and themes and stuff. And then, we gave him free reins, if that's what you say, And then he sent us some sketches now and again. And then we said, yeah, maybe don't do that or change that a bit and stuff, But yeah, so I would say he was pretty free, I didn't expect it to be those colors either when he sent it, But I think now that it fits the album really well.
Yeah, I also
I
think
mean,
so.
you said something about it being light and all that.
It's
But
very brightly
yeah, that's
bright
true.
orange.
But I really like contrasts or paradoxes, Like maybe that's also a theme in our music, when you put things together that when you think about it, it shouldn't work being put together, but it actually does, if that makes any sense.
Oh no, that makes perfect sense, and that's exactly what I was kind of getting at. Is it's the artwork is so bright, and then the music is dark, and but the imagery itself, if you actually take a look at it and like dive deep into it, it's also fairly dark and somewhat sinister, especially on that inner portion imagery. So it's very well crafted paradox there.
And
What was your first impression when you saw the colors that he used?
I
Like,
liked it.
what were your first thoughts?
You weren't too sure, were you?
No, but that was not surrounding the colors. I was actually a little concerned about the imagery when I first saw it. But I think it's because I've been involved in the process and seeing his first sketches, and I was like expecting something else. So it had to grow a little on me when I actually saw the final end result. But that had nothing to do with the colors. I was actually quite fond of us using like serious colors, like fucking here we have colors.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
our albums have been very black and white up until now.
I really wanted us to have an actual painting as the cover, like so many of the classic albums, where they commission someone to make a painting that they then put on the cover, and that's what he did. So that's good.
Yeah. Excellent. John?
Yeah, so the last little bit that I have for y'all is I know that pretty soon, a couple of days, if I wrote this down right, you guys are going to be starting to do some live touring, getting out to support the album and play some music with some incredible bands. Have you all gotten a chance to play any shows recently this year? And either way, what are you most looking forward to be getting back out on the road?
We haven't played this year yet.
Okay.
Here in Denmark, during the pandemic and stuff like that, has been some periods where shows were permitted, but then it was like with a seated crowd and all that, which was super weird. And then it opened up again for a standing crowd and closed down again, blah blah blah, all that, So I mean, we're kind of like out of we are maybe are a bit rusty when it comes to live shows, but we've been very aware of that in the preparations for this tour, and I think we just need the final touches made and the last rehearsals and all that. Then touring, you can prepare all you want, but once you're out on it, then everything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Sure.
So yeah, you just have to jump into it and be prepared as possible, and then try to do your best. And but yeah, I'm looking forward to just going out there, getting out of Denmark, playing a lot of shows in a row, yeah, like just being on the road, yeah, it's a strange sensation, I guess, that can only be really described to other people who has tried it, like you set out on the seas of unknown or something like that, and us being from Scandinavia with our Viking heritage, it's kind of like going on.
You're gonna go conquer everybody, right?
You go out, conquer and plunder and bid, and then on to the next one. It's in our blood. What can you do?
Exactly.
Is there a song from the new album that you're really, really, really chomping at the bit to play to a live crowd?
Well, all of the record, I would say, like every single song on the record, really looking forward to try to play them live.
Maybe mostly the ones we haven't played live.
Yeah,
yet.
exactly. We have tried to play 2 of them live.
Yeah.
So we're very much looking forward to play the songs that we haven't tried, but also like just to have them in some sort of context, like playing them together with each other and also playing them together with our old stuff. Try to see if it gives the old stuff some new life at some point.
Yeah, I mean, a song can be alive in so many contexts, like in the rehearsal room, on a record, but also live, and we haven't experienced these songs, a few of them live yet, I'm especially curious to see how people respond to the title track, the long one at the end, I mean, it's usually our longer songs that, or not only, but our longer songs usually get a pretty good response from the crowd. So I'm curious to see if this one also gets that.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. It is an absolutely fantastic song, and I will say, Anders, to your point, I went back and re-listened to The Wheel earlier today and like prep for the talk, and I think that those songs are going to mesh really, really well, man. Like after listening to The Goddess for the past couple of weeks and going back to listen to that, like. I think it will, right? What I mentioned before is the stepping stones that you guys have made in the last couple of albums, I think have really come to a head with this one right here. So, I mean, I haven't seen you guys live yet, but I imagine that it's going to run smoothly and y'all are going to do fucking great. Like, you guys are going to do fucking great. Cori,
That's great.
do you want to ask the question?
Oh, the question, the important question, the question to end all questions. They're getting nervous.
No.
What is your favorite dinosaur?
Fuck.
The Velociraptor.
Okay, yeah.
Just off the top of my
The
head.
Always a classic.
Little claw one.
Yeah, because it'll
Yeah.
slice you up. I actually rewatched Jurassic Park not so long ago. It was my favorite movie as a kid. I was really like a dinosaur geek. I had like a poster next to my bed, and my brain is like remembered the most useless details ever. So I knew all the names, or like the Latin names. I was like a 5-year-old running around telling everyone about these Latin names on dinosaurs and stuff. But
That's awesome.
The Velociraptor, because it's a vicious beast.
It is. Have you ever heard of the Utah Raptor? It's basically the Velociraptor, but twice the size.
But is that fast? Is it fast then?
It is fast, and the claw, instead of being like 6 inches, is 12.
Okay. But then wouldn't it go for a larger prey than a human being?
It'd probably go for the easiest prey that it can catch.
Maybe.
Mammoths are probably a thing, right? I don't know. Were there mammoths walking around in Utah, Cori?
I don't know. I don't know mammoths. I know dinosaurs.
I just assume you know everything. I don't know. Like, this is all like
I
prehistoric.
don't know anything.
If there were, it wasn't at the same time.
No, it wouldn't have been at the same time. It would have been separated by a couple million years.
Exactly.
Amazing, Oscar Anders. As we wrap up today, what do you want people to take away from this new album that you guys have released?
A lot of good times. We hope we've made an album where people can hopefully have it physically, put it on their turntables, and sit and like immerse themselves in everything around it, artwork, the lyrics, and the music.
Yeah, and we hope it can complement other stuff they're doing in their life. Like if they want to take it on a walk, we hope it works totally good for that. If
Yeah,
they want to,
powerlifting.
if they want to, yeah, they want to fucking work out to it. We hope that is good. If they want to drink to it, we hope that is good. If they want to eat dinner, we hope it's really good.
Make
suiting
love.
for that. Make love. Shake hands
Always.
with new friends.
Yeah.
Having a good time and enjoying the music.
Fuck yeah. I took it on a walk with my dogs the other day, so there you go.
I worked out to it yesterday.
Boom. Still have a
Perfect.
couple of things to tick off on that list, but I'm sure that I will eat dinner with it at some point later this week. Oscar Anders, thank you so
Hey,
much.
can I ask a very quick question?
Yeah.
What does this stream have to do with the Slipknot?
So we're on KNOTFEST, so the media empire that the festival has made, because now there's a website with culture reviews, beer, music reviews, all of that other stuff. There's a whole umbrella of stuff that KNOTFEST has done, and so that's what we're doing over here, is trying to get out the Slipknot name, as well as try and do whatever we can to get more heavy music into the ears of anyone who wants to listen to it.
Great, we would love to spread the word of Slipknot.
Please do. We have literature somewhere on your way out. Please pick up a copy, pick up a pamphlet.
We will.
Hand out pamphlets. That's great.
Yes, it will. Amazing. Again, Oscar Anders, thank you so much for joining us today. And you guys have a great rest of your week, my friends.
We will.
You too.
See you out there.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.